is Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And according to new FBI data, in 2021, attacks targeting people of Asian descent were up almost 170% from 2020.
And this year, the White House has unveiled a new plan to advance equity and justice. And joining us now is the Deputy Assistant to the President and the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Senior Liaison at the White House, Erika Moritsugu. Good to see you, and thanks a lot for being with us today.
It's good to be here with you.
All right, so your position was created during the pandemic amid rising anti-Asian hate. How is the White House working to make these communities safer?
One of the things that I think about, not all the time, but often in the middle of these celebrations is something that happened 3 years ago when I left work to go and pick up my little boy from elementary school aftercare. And this man, average-looking tourist in Washington, D.C., was so overwrought by the coronavirus and the accusations that this was the fault of the Chinese government or Chinese people that he started yelling at me all of these racist and sexually violent things, and then he spat on me.
Oh, no.
And the reason why I know, and the only reason why I bring this up is because it was in front of my little boy, and in that moment I was a mom. And it was one of these moments where I realized that being who I am in the space that we are in this time was actually putting my family at risk. And as a mom, that struck terror in my heart. And I was trying to get into the headspace or just kind of regroup so that it didn't diminish what my son had observed. These questions that he was asking about the words that this man used. Luckily, he didn't know all the words, which was great, but he was trying to wipe the loogie off of my hair and my jacket, and so I tried to turn the conversation into something that was a little bit more affirming, and asked him what he thought about the man's anger and his words. And he said, well, first of all, we're not supposed to spit on people. We're supposed to spit into a tissue. And second of all, we should love, not hate. And there he was like channeling Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So he listens and observes. And so you fast forward 2 years ago, like a full year later. I don't tell this story because it's unique or the worst story that anybody's heard, obviously. But a year later, the president is sworn in. He creates this position. I get appointed to it. And 2 months later, he signs into law this historic hate crimes bill, the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act, that included the Jabara Hire No Hate Act. And as a result, the Department of Justice has appointed the first ever hate crimes coordinator and the first ever full-time language access coordinator. And these are just first steps. I mean, and the work is not done.
Eric, you share that experience. It's something that I feel so strongly. I remember my brother being attacked in a grocery store. My mother was scared to go to the grocery store alone during COVID because of the things that were spewed towards her. We've seen violence against our communities. What can be done to stop that violence?
Eva, I'm so glad that you asked that because it's not the work of a day and it's not the work of one person or one community. We need to do it in coalition. We use all the levers that we have to come together, recognizing and honoring the differences in our community, even within the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander collective, but across the interracial, intersectional, and interreligious worlds, from all perches, state, local electeds, political leaders, but especially community members and community leaders.
And Erika, there's a lot of work to be done. According to the White House, Asian Americans and AANHPI's account for just 6% of senior executives in the federal government. What needs to be done to boost those numbers?
From the administration standpoint, the president's commitment to making his administration look like America is actually not just words, it's actions. For the temporary folks who serve the president and not deep in government as a career, we actually represent 14% of political appointees under the Biden-Harris administration, which is a little bit more than twice our census population nationally. And it includes, obviously, our vice president, who's a member of the cabinet, but she's also the first woman, first Black, and first South Asian vice president serving the second highest office in the land. And I can't say that enough.
And we all know representation does matter. Just seeing someone else doing what you can then dream to do. Deputy Assistant to the President and the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Senior Liaison at the White House, Erika Moritsugu. Thank you so much for being with us.
Good to see you, Erika.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And thank you for sharing your story, too, that experience.
It's very common, I think, amongst people that I know from my community.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.